Good morning, afternoon, or night. This is another episode of Preacher in the Hat. My name is Derek. Across from me, my brother Eric. To my left is my father Steve. And once again, and as always, behind the mic, behind the cameras and on a hot mic is the one and only Mr. Chris Sumter.
Yeah, baby.
We we are back to wrap up our. I don't even know what series we were necessarily calling this. We were working from the State of Manhood, which we've talked about from the Better Man Movement, bettermanmovement.com or betterman.com, one of those. So
betterman.com is right.
This one will be a little bit more, this episode will be a little bit more our own and just kind of wrapping it up from that perspective. But before we get into that, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about this episode is going to be recorded and then posted probably the quickest of any other episode that we've ever done. I think, I don't know, outside of we've done some live, a couple of live events on Facebook. So I figure why not talk about, if we're shooting this on what's today's date? The 15th, October 15th, and it's going to air on October 16th. Like, might as well talk about what's going on like right now.
There you go.
And on the way over here, I was thinking about just, we're dead middle of October, right? Is there, and I would love your opinions on this, a better time in the sports calendar than mid-October? You have playoff baseball. College football is about halfway through its regular season.
It's really heating up.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually.
Yep. You're starting to find out who the good teams are. NFL is about a third of the way through its regular season, and again, starting to find out who's going to be leading the pack. Mm-hmm. And I'm a college basketball guy. I know we got some NBA preseason going on right now. College basketball will start in the next couple weeks. Super excited about that. Chris, you are a college basketball guy over NBA.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched NBA since
Me either.
Mountaineers.
I will feel you, brother.
Yeah. So I can watch some of the NBA playoffs. That's about as much as I can get into it.
Same here.
A little bit of playoff.
All right.
action,
So you got that. I know. So if we got any folks, hockey or whatever, that's not my thing, but it's also happening right now. That's kind of kicking off here. So sports calendar wise, is this the pinnacle? Is this the peak?
It is. It's right where you want to be. I mean, maybe you could argue just like wait a couple more weeks.
I know we're gonna have
do
the
we
folks
still
who don't
have
care about baseball.
Yeah,
We're gonna say get me to November,
and that's
we're
fine.
gonna say get me to
and
November.
that's fine. Yeah. If I'm trying to keep baseball in it, I'm still good in like 2 weeks, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you could say like just
You got
age
World
it just
Series,
a little bit.
Yeah, age it a little bit.
But yeah, it's one of the best time. Like, I love that time of year, like this time of year where it's almost like if you want to find something to watch at night that's sports, all you got to do is turn on the TV. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, there's something. There's something.
Yeah.
I got a 6-year-old at the house, so all he wants to do is watch sports, and that's what you're saying is like the exact one of the reasons for me. I'm like, this is such a great time because, I'm like, something's on. I think they're even right now, they're saying like we're in the middle of like 49 or something, 50 straight days of football.
I think that's how it works.
Either college or NFL.
Yeah. And now some of those days are
it's
pretty slim.
I mean,
slim,
we can give you a
but a 6-year-old doesn't care, so you're good to go.
Right. I mean, we're halftime right now. 1-5 UTEP is being hosted by 0-6 Sam Houston State right now, but it's 14-10. I mean, one possession game at the half.
Throw out the record books and those two get together.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if you're watching or if you're listening or watching to this Thursday morning, go back and watch you grab you some highlights from that barn burner. Local team Jacksonville State is up 21-6 on Delaware. That is just about to go into the half.
We're making so we really sold it super hard at the start, and then talking like that kind of makes it doesn't sound not quite as good as we made it sound.
Seem as good,
but.
All right, before we move on, I'll make a pitch for another time of year that I feel like is going to be pretty popular. Number one, almost the entire month of March just for the postseason college basketball.
Oh, man.
Particularly those first 2 weekends of March Madness, and then for those who follow golf, you follow March Madness like the very next weekend, I think, usually with the Masters.
Closely. Yeah.
Now baseball's back,
and baseball is, and you got opening day baseball. So
fresh new approach in baseball. You're more excited about your team maybe this year.
Yeah, there's always hope, the eternal hope of preseason.
Yeah, I think you get a fall. There's a fall peak season, which is what we're in, and then there's a spring peak season.
Yeah.
And now really since the Stallions are playing, Birmingham Stallions,
I just haven't been able to get into that.
Cool, huh?
I haven't been able to get into that.
Oh, I like them. I like watching.
You watch it on TV?
I have, yes.
Okay.
I've never gone to a game yet, but I've watched on TV.
It's tough.
It's actually pretty good football.
Okay.
In my view.
I mean, I'm not saying that.
I just can't get up for it.
Really?
Yeah, it's
can't
tough.
get up.
I don't know what it is about that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm in terms of golf, I'm a Sunday afternoon Masters golf fan. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'll watch Sunday at the Masters and spend that afternoon acting like I know what I'm talking about and critiquing things I know nothing about.
So what time is the NFL draft?
That's usually end of April.
End of April. Yeah, that's right.
So you do have a little bit of build up there. There's combines and pro days and stuff like that. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
So what is the title of this one? Like A Man in His Sports? Is that what we're going to do?
It could probably relate. We'll probably roll it in somehow.
I'd also throw in, this time of year is a good, good time of year for European soccer, right?
European soccer.
Yeah.
I don't follow it.
Go, man.
You don't follow?
Okay. Nothing.
I have a team that I follow, but I don't usually watch. I don't watch a lot of their games.
Where are they right now? They're in club season. I know nothing.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. It kicks off. You can think about it. So English, the soccer league goes. They usually get started in August, and it's going to run all the way through spring, into May. Yeah, but it's a really long season. But then they have international breaks, and so like where everybody's not playing, so it stretches out. But then there's also. They'll go 3 weeks without playing a club game or something like that. So.
Well, if we really want to get to think about the soccer stuff, we'll have to get our buddy Doug in here. He can fill us in on who's playing when.
I can help you out a little bit.
Yeah, you can.
Like I follow the team that got the documentary when Ryan Reynolds,
Wrexham,
and Rob McElhenney bought them. So Welcome to Wrexham is on FX. I watched that. And
now, one thing I noticed, you haven't mentioned any wrestling matches.
No, I have not. I got, I know a couple people who are big into WWE, but I've just never been able to.
Okay, I got you. Me either. I just
never been able to get it.
Just don't want anybody.
To each his own. That's all I can say.
There we go.
And for that, no wrestling for me. But anyways, good conversation, minimal contribution from Chris, who looks like he's just, he's just here, so he doesn't
He just
get
has
fined.
more important things than sports on his mind. That's all.
Yeah,
more important things than sports on his mind.
Well,
right, Chris?
A bunch of taxes due.
Taxes due.
It is.
I mean,
that's what it is. A man and his taxes. Is that what we're
you
going to
should have. It's April 15th was a long time ago, my man.
It's this is officially the today is the 6-month extension. And do they give you 6 months?
If there is a particular CPA that ends up dead, you're not going to have to look far. I promise you.
This is still going out on the internet, and I'm not cutting that part out. So you're digging your own. Chris is in tax extension season, so we're going to talk a little bit. Like I said, we were going to wrap up some of our State of Manhood series and what we've been talking about there. Been trying to figure out over the course of the last few minutes what exactly we're going to call this, and I think I want to call it A Man and His Vices. But we'll talk a little bit about different types of vices. But one, let's talk just purely like, what do you do? Like something that maybe disconnects you from things that are stressful, or different ways to relax. Let's go a little bit beyond like I like to come home and watch a little TV. Like I'm thinking like a little bit deeper than that. But I'll start with an example of kind of what we did. We spent the last 5 days or so up in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and I didn't know Eric was going to rep the shirt. He picked one up.
They were only $13 at Huck's General Store.
And what does it say? Blue what? Blue Ridge?
Blue Ridge.
Yeah.
Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Little touristy town up there. We stayed outside of it a good ways, about 15 minutes.
In Cherry Log.
Yeah, Cherry Log, Georgia. Mm-hmm. There was a Cherry Log Festival, which we did not attend. Don't know.
Sounds boring. Don't even know what it is.
Something you'd have to pay for.
Yeah.
And there'd be like 10 tents or something. But, and we got to spend some time with Eric's family was there, a buddy of ours, Jonathan, his wife and their kids. And one of the things I really enjoyed about that time is that we had really bad cell service outside of, we had Wi-Fi in the home and different things like that. And number one, being away from a time like that, being away from work and all of the things that responsibility wise we all owe things to and whatnot, but there's also an extra level added to it when it's really difficult to pay attention to the responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're like, I'm going to work some on this vacation, and then you get there and like, it's really difficult for you to do it. That's even better in my opinion, because it makes you take a step back and actually just kind of be quiet. I'm not just talking about talking, but like, quiet your mind away from all of the things that make you run and everything. So anybody got like just another small example? Dad, I know you've probably got some over the years of some things that what do you do in a situation like that?
What I've noticed is the vice is distraction. The thing that distracts me can change, but I've found that sometimes instead of quieting, I distract. In other words, if I don't like thinking about that and that's stressful to me, then I run over here to something else.
Yeah.
Now that can mean I run to the phone. It can mean I run to the TV. It could mean I run to sports maybe. Or I could run to something else, or maybe just something that may not always be bad, but it's just a distraction, when indeed I may not need to be distracted. In other words, I need to stay focused and keep through it. So what I found through the years is I've been no respecter of vices, in that if it works and if it's available, I'll use it then. Now, I don't necessarily mean something that's horrible or terrible, but it's just something that will distract me from what I probably need to be focused on for the moment. And so what it results in is procrastination.
Okay.
So I use distraction to procrastinate. In other words, well, I don't want to do that, so I'll do that. For example, I would be involved in church work a lot, but I also worked at UAB or I worked at Save a Life. I worked some other places. And I would even find myself using my different jobs to distract me from this one. So things may not be going well here, so I just quickly jump in over here. It makes me feel better, but I'm not sure if it was the right move. So for me, distraction just in general, and all 4 different forms it takes, would be a vice for me. And it leads to procrastination on this, while I'm over here acting like, well, this is cool because I'm getting this done, but probably what I needed to do was that, And then when I'm done over here being distracted, then I'm upset because I haven't done that. So
you went a different way than maybe what I was expecting. No, but what I want to say is like, that's good, because I did, and it jumped ahead a little bit because I did want to talk about, I think there are times where I want to look at, when I say vices, I'm thinking there are things that are good and there are things that are bad. You touched on some of the things that, like, it can be, there's some things that you just need a break from, and so it's good to have that break.
Yeah.
There can also be some things that you introduce that you're trying to mask some parts of your life that you don't want to address, and that's kind of the part that you were thinking of. Eric, we'll add to it, and we'll kind of like tie all of this together.
Yeah. So I think I told the story about probably on the podcast one time where I had a college professor one time talk about it was right when smartphones were they had boomed, and it was basically like if you ask how many people in your college classroom had a smartphone, you get almost every hand in the air, and he was talking about he's an older guy at the time, and he holds up his phone. He's like, one of the reasons I can't wait to retire, and this isn't verbatim, but he was talking like this. It's like, one of the reasons I can't wait to retire is like, I'm going to walk out at the lake house. I'm going to go out on the dock. And he held up his phone, and he's like, I'm going to throw this as far as I possibly can into the lake. And at that time, I was like, oh, that's, why would you do that? I was like, and then as I've gotten further along into life, it probably didn't take more than a few years, honestly, after college to reflect back on that, him saying that, and be like, man, that guy, he was kind of on to something. And to the point where now it's like that I tell that like from the point of view of I say that like myself now. It's like, someday I'm going to throw that thing into the lake, metaphorically, I guess. And, and that will be like, I would look forward to something like that. Because you mentioned distraction, and that's really all it is. There are certain aspects of my job and the type of work that I'm in that require me to have something like this available. Now, that doesn't mean it's my job's fault for distracting, or anything like that. That's all up to me. But I would say that as a vice in particular is like, it's annoying to me now. And yeah, it's just, Derek, you mentioned being able to like go somewhere to where you don't you basically have restricted access to it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that kind of thing used to bother me. And now I'm like, oh,
you can't wait for it, right?
I don't have cell service
because the vice of the phone and of the laptop and all that is inaccessible to you.
It's just like, I look down, it's like, and I see that SOS in the top corner,
which means all you can do is call 911.
Yeah, so good.
But what's interesting about that is one thing I think that feels so good is I don't have to discipline myself now.
No, it's done.
Oh yeah,
it's done for you. There's
like that external
discipline itself is just taken away from you. There's not even a battle to fight.
Right.
Like you just can't.
That's right.
Yeah, there's nothing to.
That by itself is relaxing.
Hey, take it a step further and don't pay your bill. That works too.
Yeah, there you go, Chris.
Great point,
that's another
Chris.
way to do it.
There you go.
Yeah,
like that. That's good.
So, with vice, obviously, a vice being like the, I guess, kind of negative connotation of what we're talking about here. What would be the opposite? Or I'm sorry, I said good vice, bad vice. We're really like, if you look up the definition of vice, it's something that is considered bad. Like drugs would be a vice. Alcohol abuse would be a vice. That sort of thing. So the antonym of vice. Good vice.
I don't know. So for me, it's, and anybody who's listened to or watched the podcast, and all of you in the room will know what I'm going to say. But it's part of the reason is because it's for me, it's the good vice is playing disc golf. And part of the reason is because that SOS on my phone is what automatically happens when I'm doing that. So now I'll still use my phone to like keep score or whatever if I'm keeping score. But I'm not scrolling through anything in between. Well, like when I walk between holes, it's like it's the only time. It's one of the main times, I should say, when I don't like when I see I have a text message that I don't like just immediately open it and see what it is. Like I will just open my phone to plug my score in, click it back down, and I get kind of like that same feeling that we were talking about like from this weekend, where it's just like I'm just out there to do that, and it feels it's kind of like a similar feeling, and it feels great. It feels disconnected.
I love it. We should sling some discs soon, by the way.
We have to. It's been a minute.
So 2 things have come to my mind while you were talking. One was, I mentioned this before, and one thing that I would do sometimes, which was a good thing for me when I was really, really busy and felt overwhelmed, was take what I call mini vacations, which I've said before. Sometimes meant getting in my car, going down to a drive somewhere, just kind of getting under a tree, opening my window and push the seat back and rest. Nobody could call me. Nobody could contact me. And so it was a way to quiet myself. And so I always used to kind of look forward to that. The one thing you and I talked about, I'm not not on the podcast, but one time was about eating alone. I found eating alone sometimes is really good for me.
Great.
I love to do that. Just eat alone. I'll just go to a restaurant or somewhere, and I can stay there sometimes an hour, 2 hours, and I'm not really doing a whole lot, but it just feels relaxing. So that's another mini vacation. One was I used to go and walk in neighborhoods sometimes, like in Homewood. When I worked in Homewood, I remember going down past Palisades. There was a little neighborhood down there in Homewood. I just would walk. I didn't know anybody in the neighborhood. I didn't know that kind of thing, and so I just kind of walk in the neighborhood. Now that's been some years ago, but it's probably been 20 years ago. But that was what I would do. But when I felt like I couldn't take vacations because I was so busy, just taking those mini vacations helped me mentally a lot, and just to find a spot where it was doing something different. So for me, sometimes it's not being totally inactive; it's just doing something different, whatever that is. So that has been helpful for me. That's a good. If we're talking about good advice, that's a good advice.
Yeah.
And I used to really look forward to that. And sometimes I would make, sometimes people you work with are also, let's go out to eat. Let's go out to eat. And I'd be like, I'm busy, or I love you guys, but I'm busy. And I'm a people person. I like people, but there would be times in those moments where I just like eating by myself.
Yeah.
So,
short drive to us for school in the morning to drop off Isaac.
oh, there you go.
It's about 5 minutes, and I've decided that, since he kind of started this on his own because he would just request it, and from here on out, I've done it. He picks the playlist on the way to school, so we play whatever he wants. And he's for some people who listen to maybe some of the younger music, whatever. Everything, it's almost 100% of the time Forrest Frank. Man, the car ride vibes are sky high, man.
It's electric.
You have a great time on the way to work, and there's no like decision choice for me to make or whatever. He's got usually probably 2 or 3 different songs that he's got in his mind that he wants to hear, and he'll kind of like rotate through them or whatever, and we'll go on to the next one. But that has been like those are great moments there where it's just I don't know, spending time with your kid, but
that gives me flashback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and I'm sure many parents can attest.
Yeah,
absolutely.
really cool. Give me flashback.
So giving him free reign on that. Well, I mean, I would draw the line somewhere, but obviously he doesn't know any other any music at this point for me to be like, no, we're not listening to that.
That was something that's kind of interesting that you mentioned that, because that was something that kind of surprised me. Not that I don't. I mean, I love spending time with my kids, but I didn't expect to want to do carpool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like drop off and pick up. I love it. I take, especially like taking Nate to school. I'm pretty solid doing it every single day. So I have it almost worked out to where I can pretty much make it happen every single day that I get to drop him off, and I probably pick him up 3 days a week at least. sometimes more. And yeah, that's great.
Well, what was cool?
I really like it.
What was cool at when they went to Clay, the girls, your sisters went to Clay Chalk Bowl, and we lived in Center Point, and that was a pretty good drive. And I had decided that 2 days a week I would take the girls. They had a bus that could go. They had other things. I said I want to take them. That was 20 minutes. And what we decided is there would be no radio, no music or anything. I loved that. And then I remember
back then, I got to say, I totally agree going no radio because you had no control over what came up on
That's true.
And, commercials, talk shows,
That's right.
whoever
That's
decided that that everybody wants to hear people talking in the first thing in the morning. I don't understand whoever decided that. But anyways. Yeah. Sorry, you were going.
And I remember taking you guys because y'all were in Homewood in middle school before you got your car and before you could drive. And so I remember, I think I dropped you off and Mom would pick you up if I remember correctly, or maybe it was
That
vice
sounds
versa.
right.
I think it was right. And because Homewood didn't have any buses, so there was no option other than taking it. I love that too. I'm like you, Eric. I didn't know that I would like that, but I did. It was fun.
Yeah.
I actually, when I'd still drive by Homewood High School, I'm like, dog, man, I used to like doing this. You know what I'm saying? It just hits me not often. I don't go by there often, but maybe 2 or 3 times a month.
Well,
I think about it.
I love kind of, obviously the sides we've drawn here on maybe some stuff that's, not so good versus some of the stuff that is a good way to handle and deal with some stuff. I have found, and I think everyone in this room would agree with me, the need for the vices we talked about originally, the distraction, the what have you. Define it in your mind as the listener. You know what yours is, the thing that maybe gets you in trouble or things you necessarily shouldn't be doing or you spend too much time doing. The need for those vices goes way down when I think it wasn't his song, but my grandfather said it best when we have a little talk with Jesus.
Yeah, that's right.
Have a little talk with Jesus. Tell him all about your troubles.
Oh, Chris, you don't know the words? All right. Well, we'll get you in. We'll send you a link, Chris, so you can learn those words.
Yeah.
But I have found, for me, and this is me, maybe more me trying to remind myself, I've found the need for that kind of stuff goes considerably down when you are consistently talking with the one person who all of the chaos and all of the things that we've kind of defined here, it all ties together and makes sense when he is at the center of what we're doing.
And what that does is, a lot of times with vices, we think we have to say no, but in order to continue to say no, we have to say yes. And that's what I like about what you said, is we don't just need to say no to the vices. We need to say yes to something
right
else.
things.
And you're talking about say yes to a little talk with Jesus is one way.
And that's
vacation.
That, just saying a little talk with Jesus is maybe, reducing it even more than what it should be. But it's when we're in step with him, when we're talking with him daily, when we're studying in the Word. When
what I like about that song is conversational prayer.
Yeah. And
I think a lot of people, when they think about prayer, they think, I've got to be in my closet, I've got to be by myself, I got to pray for 20 minutes straight. Well, just a little talk with Jesus has the idea of throughout the day, no matter what, if I can get focused on that and have a conversation with him, that's pretty cool. So conversation means I not only talk to him, but I listen to him. And that's a little talk with Jesus, is I'm talking to him and he's talking to me.
I had
beautiful.
Real quick, as we wrap this up, when my son was born, he was in the NICU for 30 days. And it was, it wasn't super uncertain after he was born. There was a little more uncertainty before he was born. Once he got here, we kind of, felt like we knew he was going to be okay. But I remember in those 30 days, I had decided at work, I was just going, every day, I was going to think about the sacrifice that Jesus made on the cross for us, so that I never forgot during those times if I ever felt if it was a bad day at the hospital or something like that, it was always on my mind how good he is. And like you said, what that does is it opens the door not only for me to just be thinking about Jesus and thinking about the things that he's done, but to also talk to him and then have him talk to you back.
That's right.
It's now let us have a little talk with Jesus. Let us tell him all about our troubles. He will hear our faintest cry. He will answer by and by. Preacher in the Hat. I'm Derek. That's Eric. That's Steve. Chris behind the cameras. We'll see y'all next time.